eating starts in the kitchen. Hello, my name is Winnie Chen and I am a registered dietitian. Ground meat is a very common meat used in the group home. Number one, it's a lot cheaper than whole meats, and also number two, it's tend to be easier for clients to choose. Today, I'd like to show you how we can use ground meat to make different dishes. When we think about ground meat, let's talk about what are some of the dishes that are made of ground meat. So for example, Italian, you can think about spaghetti sauce, you can think about meatball, you can think about lasagna, baked ziti. When you think about Mexican or Latino cooking, what comes to mind is burrito, taco, tostada, enchilada. And when we think about Asian cooking, I think about, of course, is the lettuce wrap, which is also utilized the ground meat. So when we talk about ground meat, there's different kind of ground meats. I think that turkey and ground beef are like the most common one that the group home uses. And typically, if you have a house that need to wash or lose weight, I would recommend turkey because it's leaner. If you have a mixture of different clients, I would say that you're having beef, ground beef, and also ground turkey. Have them in hand is pretty useful. When I go shopping, look for ground meat, I typically like to look for leaner ground meat, like 80% or 90 or even 90 or 95%. But if you can't find it, let's say you can only find 70 or 75%, just remember that when you're cooking it, be sure to drain the oil. That way you can get rid of the fat. So today, what I have is I have ground turkey, I have ground beef, and I also ground pork. So when I just want to show you some of the product I've made with ground meat. So with the ground meat, what I have made is that I make into hamburger patties, and like these, and I freeze them. Or I can make meatballs and I can freeze them. One thing when I make meatballs or hamburger patty, what I like to do is I like to grate some vegetables in the meat so that they look more nutritious. They have more vegetables in there. So when you add vegetable to your ground meat, you need a binder. Okay, that's why a meatloaf would ask you to add some egg, would ask you to add some breadcrumbs. So just remember, every time you want to add vegetable to your ground meat, make sure you have some binder like egg or cornstarch or breadcrumb to bind them all together. So even with this, you can serve it with bun, make a hamburger bun, or like I said, you can put a sauce, a white sauce or brown sauce in there. Then it becomes a little Swiss steak or Salisbury steaks. Okay, so now let's kind of talk about what I'm going to be making today. I like to maybe take half of it, just half of it. I'm going to use these for turkey sausage patty. Okay. When I see people buy sausage patty from the grocery store, as you know that they tend to be high in sodium, and homemade sausage patty actually is very easy to make. All you have to do is you take this and you add sage, which is the key ingredient, sage, and then just some salt and pepper. If you want some little kick to it, maybe you can add red pepper. So what I have here is about half pound. Typically when I make patty, I like to use 1 pound. So 1 pound of turkey, of ground meat, you just add about 1 teaspoon of sage in there. So I'm just gonna, and since it's only half pound, so I'm gonna just probably add about half teaspoon of sage to the meat. And then I would really just season it with a little bit of salt and pepper, okay? If you are watching your sodium intake, you don't want to add salt to it. What maybe you can consider is just add garlic powder to it. So I'm going to add a little bit of salt, not too much, maybe just a 1/4 teaspoon, just give a little bit of flavor. And then I'm just going to add some pepper to it. Okay, and that's it. That's your really basic turkey sausage patty. Okay, now what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna mix them up really good. Okay, now what I'm gonna do is I'm just take a little maybe just like 1 ounce, and then I'm just gonna shape it into a little patty. And with that, what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna kind of put it in, I'm just gonna form a little patty like this, and then I can just freeze it. Now what I wanna move on and just talk about how I'm gonna make, how I'm gonna use these ground beef, and I'm gonna make 2 dishes. I'm gonna save half of it for my spaghetti, you know, like Italian spaghetti sauce, and then the half I'm gonna save it to make a chili. You're gonna begin making the spaghetti sauce and the chili by cook the ground meat first. You're gonna saute the onion with the raw ground meat, let it fully cooked, and then you can begin to drain the grease. Now this ground meat has been fully cooked, and because it's kind of greasy, not only I drain the fat, I actually also rinse it with water to get rid of more grease. So with this is 1 pound of ground meat with 1 whole chopped onion. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take half of it, okay? This half of it is gonna be used for my spaghetti, okay? And I'm gonna use the rest, half of it, I'm gonna be used for chili. So now, this is where you're gonna add the spices to make the food taste different. So with spaghetti sauce, what I usually like to do is I like to add a little bit of nutmeg in there. A little bit of nutmeg really makes a difference. So if you have 1 pound, maybe I would say add about like a half teaspoon. So here, this is about a half pound. So what I'm gonna do is just kind of add about a 1/4 teaspoon. Okay, so this is what it gives you a little bit different flavor. Okay, and then I'm also gonna, with Italian dish, you always want to add garlic to it. So here, I have some garlic I'm gonna add to it, okay? Okay, so this is about like 1 clove of garlic. So this is your ground meat. Now with the other ground meat, I'm gonna make a chili. So when you think about chili, one of the main ingredients obviously is the chili powder. Now you can definitely buy those McCormick mixture of chili and you just add to it. But if you don't have that, a very basic chili mixture is your we call ancho chili pepper with cumin, okay, and with oregano, and also with garlic powder. So being that it is chili, you want to add a lot of chili. So I add about 2 teaspoons of ancho chili powder in there. That's the most mild chili powder. And I'm going to add some cumin to it, okay? And I'm also going to add some oregano to it. Now, the different spices really makes the food taste different. So now where I'm gonna add the sauce. Okay, so we have the spice and I'm gonna add the sauce. Okay, so typically you will buy like a typical spaghetti sauce and you add to the sauce. But spaghetti sauce usually has a lot of sodium in it. So usually what I like to do is I usually like to just add half of it. Okay, and then I will add either fresh tomato, or I put these are canned tomato, which is very low in sodium. So I will add canned tomato or fresh cut up tomato to make it less salty or less sodium. So that's my spaghetti sauce right there. So with the chili, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add the half of the tomato sauce, and I'm gonna just add a mixture of bean there. The bean could be kidney bean, black bean, pinto bean, or garbanzo bean. So in my pantry, I only have a kidney and garbanzo, and that's what I'm gonna add today.